Next is the generation of computers. Generations of computers are classified into five categories. First generation from 1946 to 59, second generation 1957 to 64, third generation 1965 to 70, fourth generation 1970 to 90, and the fifth generation 1990 till date. I talk about the first generation computer. The first generation computer used vacuum tubes for circuitry and magnetic drum for memory. And they were big in size, and even they took an entire room to place over it. They were very expensive to operate, and they consumed a lot of electricity. That's why they generated a lot of heat. So this is the reason this machine frequently broke down, and that cause of malfunctions. The first generation computer relied on machine language, the lowest level programming language understood by computers to perform operations, and they could only solve one problem at a time. Input was on the punched cards and paper tape, and the output was displayed on printouts. Then came the second generation. Transistors replaced vacuum tubes in the second generation computers. One transistor replaced the equivalent of 40 vacuum tubes, and the size reduced and it became smaller and faster, cheaper, and more energy efficient and more reliable. But still they generated a great deal of heat and can damage the computer. And second generation computer moved from cryptic binary machine language to symbolic assembly language, which allowed programmers to specify instruction in words. Earlier, the instructions were given in binary language, that is zeros and one. When assembly language came into exist, then it changed into words. Second generation computers still relied on punched cards for input and printouts for outputs. These were also the first computers that stored their instruction in their memory, which moved from a magnetic drum to magnetic cord technology. The memory became more advanced in this stage. Then became the third generation. This generation developed of an integrated circuit, and it became the hallmark of the third generation computers. These transistors were minimized, and they placed on silicon chips and called semiconductors, which drastically increased the speed of these computers. And of course, the efficiency increased. And the size reduced, they become much smaller and cheaper compared to the second generation computers. And they could able to carry out instruction in billionth of seconds. The speed automatically increased. Users interacted with third generation computers through keyboards and monitors and interfaced with an operating system which allowed the device to run many different applications at one time with a central program that monitored the memory. Computers for the first time became accessible to mass audience because they were small and cheaper than this predecessors. And this is the time in the third generation the computer became popular and came to the community. Then became the fourth generation computer. These were microprocessors. And microprocessor brought the fourth generation of computer as thousands of integrated circuits were built into a single silicon chip. As these small computers became more powerful, they could be linked together to form networks, which eventually led to the development of internet. And this is the time internet become popular in the people. Fourth generation computers also saw the development of GUI, that means graphic user interface, the interface which we are using today. Like we are using mouse and screen icons, such that. And mouse and handle devices used in this fourth generation. Then the first generation we are facing today and for the future. This fifth generation computer based on artificial intelligence, and this is still in development. The use of parallel processing and semiconductors is helping to make artificial intelligence a reality. The goal is to develop devices that respond to the natural language input, are capable of learning and self-organization. There are some applications such as voice recognition, face detection, nanotechnology, natural languages that are being used today also. So, after this generation, it led to the classification of computers.